Hey everyone, and welcome to the Neurofuck Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Rosa, and over here we have...
Haley Olivia.
Wonderful. Well, let's not waste any of your precious time. Let's get right to the episode. Hit it, Terrence.
It's time for Neurofuck Podcast with your host, Jackson Rosa, that mischievous motherfucker, Haley Olivia. What's your name, girl? You on the spectrum? And Terrence. We've got autism, ADHD, OCD, all the D's. We got stories and artists from all walks of life. It's time to get fucked neurologically.
Al, how do you want me to introduce you? What do you want me to
Editor
just...
at Smosh.
Yeah.
Creator of Dungeons and Dragons.
And how do you want me to say your full name? How do I say your full name
All right,
in this?
it's Rockerline Alfred Coleman.
Rockerline?
Did I say Rockefeller before?
You did, and that's because it's funny. Rockerline Alfred Coleman.
Alfred Coleman.
Yeah.
Rockerline Alfred Coleman.
I've
Yes.
been mentally
Rockerline
saying
Alfred.
Rockefeller.
Okay,
Okay, excuse me.
I'm trying to
he's
get it
trying to
right
get
on the first try. Rockerline Alfred Coleman. No, I just act annoyed at you. It's the bit. I do it for the bit. You're
I feel
great.
like there was so much truth to the joke.
No, there is, but like the point. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Neurofucked Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Rosa. Over here we have Haley Olivia. Give it up for Haley. Hello. The sweet and lovely Haley Olivia. And now...
Wait, but is that it?
Well, we've already talked about you enough.
You've been into this.
I know, we have so many intros, they don't know who I am.
This is not about us anymore. This is about our guest today. Give it up for Rockerline Alfred Coleman, the third.
The second, actually.
The second.
Kinda. It's muddy. It's a muddy
how
thing.
he rose out of his chair like...
I think we need some wrestler music for that one.
The attention gives me power. Just like,
I think, okay, how about we just start with the name?
okay, yeah, let's get into it.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so Terrence knows this from knowing me since we didn't go to high school together.
No.
Okay.
I met you guys in college.
College. Okay. So I didn't know my first name was Rockerline until I was 18 years old. So I always went by Alfred Coleman in Kissimmee, Florida, where I grew up.
You were lied to.
I was basically, so I was always prone to getting into fights as a kid. So my mom did not put Rockerline as my first name because for some reason it's a West African name. Very interesting. She didn't want kids to make fun of me and therefore me to punch them in the face.
But Rockerline is such a metal
name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is a dope name.
And it's a family name on my dad's side.
Yeah.
So his middle name is Rockerline as well.
That's really cool. I feel like if you start a music...
That's why you're the second.
Kinda. It's like a pseudo second.
I was just joking about the third. Yeah, I was just like, I just thought it would sound cool. No. They thought it would sound cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's because I actually had a name that I was not named that they switched to my middle name. Mm-hmm. I was nameless for 2 weeks as a child.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Jackson, that explains so much.
It does. A lot of deep psychological wounds. But my name was, my dad had M names, right? Mm-hmm. So it was going to be like my sister's Molly. There was Mike and Max.
Yeah.
Half brothers, and my dad was adamant he wanted to name me Meyer, Meyer, as a first name, like a Jewish grandfather, just a totally like
Oscar Mayer.
Yeah, like Oscar Mayer Wiener, like Meyer the liar, Meyer the crier, like Meyer pants on fire, right? So my mom
really think about it and go,
No, he didn't think about it. My mom went and fought him on this. She was like, this is not going to happen. Her friend was like, she gossiped with her friend about it. And she's like, yeah, what is he going to be named the first 80 years of his life? Like,
well, hold on. How do you feel about the name Meyer?
I'm glad that they went Jackson.
Okay.
I'm glad,
Okay.
I'm so glad that they did because I already had enough to deal with growing up.
Yeah.
It was enough to and then to have the name added on top of that. So they did me a solid. They moved it to my middle name.
Okay.
They compromised. They went back, redid the birth certificate, made sure,
Wait, so they had the birth certificate and everything
they just left the name blank. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, blank.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that. Have you ever put in that situation and you don't want to rush it and make big mistakes for your child's future?
Then sit on this. Well, actually, if you guys were lucky enough to ever have a kid, what would you name it? Because I love a real interesting name. You know, my first name's Rockerline.
Yeah.
Well, tell us yours first.
I always wanted to. If I had a girl, I would name it Regalia.
Regalia.
Oh, regalia.
Regalia. A regalia is a proof of royalty. So like a crown, a scepter, a ring.
That's
I fucking
cool.
love that name.
Regalia.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I would like. I think, and then Reggie for short.
Yeah, Reggie for sure. You know?
Like that's. I think sometimes like there is a point in time where you got the professional. Like they didn't want to name me Jack. They said Jackson because it actually sounded more like professional. Like
Yeah.
you could put it in something.
You also have to think about the repercussions of the name you choose and the nicknames people choose for
Yeah.
you.
You gotta blow through all the nicknames in your head
you're
as
like,
well.
okay, what could they possibly call them that we don't want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is like, no.
I'm trying to wrap it up, so I'm not trying to think about that right now.
That's true. Yeah.
But okay, so let's get back on track. So you got a cool fucking name.
Thank
That's
you.
first off. Rockerline, fucking yeah. Just start a band. Just start a band.
I start enough things in my life.
Okay.
Like I do. God, not only am I an editor for Smosh. If you guys at home are over the age of 20 or whatever, you should know.
We know
these guys
Smosh. We love Smosh. Yeah.
from way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many people under Smosh that I'm sure a lot of people of younger generations would know too, because
Yeah.
I found that a lot of younger generations are looking at what our generation was obsessed with and going, they had the right idea, because
had
they
it
all
cool,
seem
yeah.
to like have all this memorabilia and all these shirts. Like I see people walking in who are like 10 years old with Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm like,
Speaking of Missy, I have an Air Nomad
yes!
tattoo
damn.
right here. My brother has the Fire Nation tattoo in the same spot. Terrence got a water nation.
I was there when he got that one.
And you have all 4 elements on your
my
back?
back, yes.
Let's go.
What does that mean?
we need an earthbender.
I'm a Virgo.
What is that
No,
Earth?
Jackson,
It's
no,
Earth.
you're
It's a
disappointing
land
me
sign.
so much right now.
Is that an Earth element? You should get it.
I should get an Earth. No, I'm not a big fan. I'm not
He
a fan
doesn't
of
know much about it.
No,
Damn.
I know. I watched some of it. It's just here's the thing. I'll let you guys fill me in on all that
For
type
sure.
of stuff. You were so dismissive, by the way. He was like, "No, Jackson, no, it's not yours. I'm a fan. I'm a real fan, and you won't ruin this for me."
But yeah,
So that's cool. So
Smosh, I do that. I started my own card game company.
Okay.
Cryptid Games. I released 2 games this year.
awesome.
The third one is a Halloween themed one, so that's going to be in October. And then literally a week ago, I was like, I'm just going to make my own hot sauce, so I'm like starting to do that.
I'm really excited. I love hot sauces, by the way. So if you get a chance, if you're making them and need taste testers, let me know. I got a
Do you
whole
need
bunch.
someone to draw a design?
Fortunately, I have a design, and I know how to clip art like a motherfucker. So I
figure it out.
I pay for Canva, and I just fucking go.
Well, Canva.
I
Canva
fucking love
annoys me
Canva.
though, because there's so much to work around if you
Yeah.
accidentally do something wrong, and then you have to pay for that's how they get you to pay for
I pay
the
for
fee.
premium already, but
Oh, well then you're fine.
I wouldn't pay for. I already paid for Photoshop. It's
Yeah.
no Photoshop, so that's fine.
But and this is why I like that you guys are doing this. As a guy who like starts a lot of stuff, like
Yeah.
I have a lot of stuff that I've failed in too. Like I had like a clothing business that hasn't exactly gotten to where I need it to be.
Hey Jackson.
Is it sitting in the? Yeah. No, this is what do you mean? Oh, I don't have a clothing. What are you talking about? I don't have a clothing business. What do you mean?
You have a clothing?
I don't have
a
a clothing.
clothing line.
No, I don't. It's barely. It's just merch.
Yeah.
He's just trying to
It's
make
just
me
merch.
look bad.
No.
Merch is different. Merch is like band merch, like
Yeah.
I
music merch
feel
is
like
different.
we have a bit of dissonance between us right now.
I feel like we're just disagreeing to disagree.
to this specific topic. No, I might have to like scale down to it just being like certain items and stuff like that. Because now I have like shades in my apartment that are just like sitting there, and a bunch of designs that are like really cool. But
Do you
I
feel
have
like
like nowhere to put
It's-
them.
So you're kind of like me in a lot of ways. You're a self-starter.
Yeah.
You start a lot of projects. It is they're all in these very niche industries, right? You got the game stuff, which it seems like you're very passionate about. You've already finished those.
Yeah, those are out. Yeah.
So do you find that you're really like you've gotten in the groove of game building and developing those types of things?
So the funny thing is, someone told me is like when you make your first game, it's not going to do well. Like very few people actually make a game for the first time and it blows up, like Cards Against Humanity. I can say that it's their first game. It probably wasn't. They probably did a couple things on the side here and there, but as far as like mass appeal, that's it, right? So the first game that I created was Court of Cryptids. And that was going to be like my Pokemon-esque kind of...
Is it like shapeshifter Pokemon? Is
I
it
like that name, Court of
Cryptids. Yeah,
Like
I fucking love like
cryptids.
Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. So I created original cryptids. Like that wasn't like Bigfoot. There is a Bigfoot guy in there, but he's modeled after Donkey Kong and he has like like tree cannons on his arm and shit. It's a fun game. It's just that I did too much in the process of making the game. I forgot about the fun of it, and I was like, mechanics.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, actually.
Missing the fun in things, or
talking about, because I know you mentioned a lot about not finishing things.
Right.
And I know, for myself, I had so much trouble growing up completing anything. I would get so excited and I would create, but I would never fully finish something before hopping to something else.
Yeah.
And it took a long time.
It's a lot of discipline that you have to like put on yourself, especially for creative people like us who just, if you have an idea, you jump into that idea and then it's like, okay, now that this is on the cooler, I can like start something else. And it's like, no, sometimes you got to keep that cool thing, restart the Kindle, like get it going again, you know, make it hot again.
So how did you, what exactly did you do to find your way to that, to building that consistency and actually
finishing the job?
Yeah, because I know you got there too. Like both of you have gotten there.
So for the first game, that was a full year's process. I didn't touch anything else for an entire year, which is rare for me because I would have done 4 other things during that year. And so I really buckled down. I set aside a savings for that specific game because I knew I wanted original art and I had to pay for that. And by the end of that year, I had a prototype, I had the box art ready, I had everything going. And then I was like, okay, year number 2, I could start doing the second game, which only took me 3 months to create. Because I had already gone through the entire process of making something first. And now I'm like, okay, I get it now. I understand
the
it
workflow.
now.
You took a look at it as the timeline and the workflow of what you had, the tasks you had to do.
Yeah,
it's
and
like
condensed it.
Yeah, it's like I think it's almost like because you have the background of being an editor, so if you think about everything in that linear fashion, you know, like hey, like if I have this and then I need this, then I need this, you know. Editors are workflow people.
Linearly though, for all of us, I can say. It's hard to accomplish especially I know for me I've finally come to a place where I can organize my thoughts and get somewhere, but not linearly. I don't think I ever will be able to do it that way. I'm always like, and we're gonna take a little side journey over here and we're gonna do this, and I know you're always like, all right, this way.
I'm like basically like to survive. I say one thing at a time, right? And it's not like I don't have multiple things going on, but it's like in that for that project. It's a piece by piece, build by build situation.
Well, it's this mantra that you've created for yourself because you've had that issue too. And you've like developed this way to keep that discipline and consistency within yourself. But it doesn't mean like you're 100% always able or capable of doing that. But as long as most of the time you can. And
to bring it back to like the podcast itself, that's why I was like, this is good because like you guys have each other. A lot of like I was saying off camera, I was like a lot of the issues that I have with like my projects is that I'm by myself doing these things And so it's easy for me to just jump to another thing. But if you guys have each other, you guys can keep each other on track, and you don't have to jump everywhere. Even if you have like other ideas, you can always just bring it back to this.
Yeah.
Well, all of us too, like, we're always like, we also have a lot of understanding for each other and how our brain works and what we need that's might be different from other people who aren't like on the spectrum or things like that. So it's kind
patience
of cool.
with each other.
Yeah, a lot more patience. Like, and it creates this really nice environment. Like, none of us are being paid to do this right now. But it's also made it more possible to make it happen when we keep that discipline, but also not going over the line between pushing ourselves too hard.
Yeah.
So okay, so you've been developing these games. You feel like you got better the second time around.
Yeah.
You got like more efficient with how you built it. You mentioned something about Cards Against Humanity and how you feel like the marketability. Tell us about how you kind of like, is there any lessons to take away from that? And do you feel like having a game that's selling game that sells versus like the thing that you've like fixated on, what's the difference between those two things?
So that's a good question, because the first game that I made was definitely just like a passion thing. That was literally just for like me to show my friends that I can do this. And more importantly, myself. Like never do anything for other people in that regard, to just like show off. Like, do it for you. So
that's good though. Do it for you.
Yeah. So I proved that I can do it to me, right? The second time around, I learned that you have to put more money into advertisement than you do the actual product. Like itself. And that's just the nature of just like selling things if you want to actually make money off of this stuff. And I did not have that money to
saved up for the artwork and the creation of it.
Yeah. And then
same thing with album releases, same thing with indie music releases. I'm working on my next record right now and grouping of songs, and I know if I release it too soon.
Yeah.
What's that last 50% of the project, the marketing? The last 50%, it could have felt like I took a freaking boulder up the hill to create this actual like the arrangements and the drums and the music and all the playing, but like, and you think as an artist, you're like, there we go, it's the work, it's the finished work.
It'll speak for itself.
It's like no. Next 50%, the work is never over.
Yeah.
Just make it as good as you can make it, but then be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Because the moment you release in the world, it's released into the world.
And that's why you see so many like cheap things being marketed to you.
Yeah.
Because they got them out so quickly, and all that money that they were putting towards that is now going towards the marketing of it all.
Yeah.
It's like you could have used that money that you're using for marketing for this month to make the product better, but now I have a product that tastes kind of.
And it's a reason to be patient with yourself. And like, we don't want to be a Temu project.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to make this podcast like, oh, you can just get it for, you can just like order it fast.
Yeah.
Gamble away on prize picks, It's fun.
Can we go back to the first thing you learned when you started the games?
Yeah.
Creating the games. What was the first thing you said that you learned?
Sorry. I feel like we've been through like 50 things since then. The first thing I learned, well, it wasn't something, and I'll probably hear this later or before in the episode, but it really wasn't anything that I learned. It's just my personality to just get out there and do something. A lot of my friends ask me why I do anything, because it's like I jump from thing to thing. And I think that if you are a creative person, you owe it to yourself to try everything that pops into your mind, because you never know what those things could become.
Yeah.
I think too, when you say that, when I was younger, I don't know if you had the same issue, as you were known as the person that had so many ideas, but then it would start frustrating people because they're like, all right, here's another big grand idea. Where is it gonna go? I know it frustrated my parents a lot because I feel like you have always had like a very big imagination as well, because the things that you come up with are like you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So
I definitely frustrated the people around me, but like actually,
Jackson.
Oh, you weren't done yet. Oh, yeah. There's an example, but like anyway. Well, no,
No,
it's,
it
I thought you were done.
wasn't,
Okay. Well, no, go on.
You were salty today.
I am very salty. No.
Bringing the salts
No.
today.
Yeah, I'm bringing the salts, the peppers, the hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
Yeah.
I was just interjecting, like, naturally, until you called me out.
It didn't feel natural when you said it like that.
I felt very
I
natural
was
to me.
interjecting naturally.
I was interrupting
I mean,
naturally.
this is called neurofuck, so nothing here is going to be like...
Nothing's going to be normal. We're not going to have a normal sense of...
Okay, let's not call ourselves abnormal.
We're not going to have decorum that is on the...
Yes.
There you
We're not
go.
going to have decorum that is on the scale
There
of
you
the
go.
average NPC that walks around. Okay?
And you know
We're
what?
not
And you know what? Be you to the fullest.
Be you to the fullest.
Be you
exactly.
to the fullest.
Yeah,
It's okay.
that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
be, but Jackson wouldn't let me. He told
She
after
actually
the
got an
first
authoritarian
building-
leader.
Hey, let me ask you guys this. All being like neurodivergent people, starting this podcast, what is the major... Is there any like major issues you've had just with like communicating and working with each other that some people wouldn't quite understand?
I wouldn't call it like major issues.
Or just issues in general, like little...
It's turning into couples therapy.
But oh yeah,
Because
Jackson.
there's issues with any like group project. So like...
Honestly, I think that is a good question.
Yeah.
I love how I'm going to be the interviewer now. I'm curious about the behind the scenes. We have like a slightly different idea of how the podcast goes.
We're kind of open to like the direction.
But we're open.
Yeah.
We're open to the direction. Jackson's and also you have to keep in mind we all have the tism, and there are certain aspects that come with that where you don't want to do someone else's idea. You want it to like go a specific way.
Yeah.
So we've had to like kind of listen to each other a little bit when we're trying to explain like certain things. I've had to learn how to express and explain what I mean to Jackson, but it's not like we had like big disagreements or fights over anything at all.
Yeah.
We're all really emotionally intelligent, I would say. So when it comes to that,
I think for me, it is pretty firm boundaries around projects and around like, especially with setting it up in my space, using my equipment. So I want to make sure if we do something, we have it scheduled correctly.
Right.
And like, I'm very like taskmaster type person.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that, but that everyone can learn from that too. That's not like, you don't have to be like perfect. But yeah, no, that's one of the things is just, okay, make sure we do it and we set it up so we can do it consistently and don't get burnt out by trying. Yeah. So it's like, want to build into it and be patient with ourselves. And I keep saying that, but it's true. Like we're working on different projects and we're doing our thing. We're making a living trying to.
And I get really, really excited too.
Yeah.
Like I've allowed myself to become more authentic in my excitement. And so they kind of understand that I sometimes I have moments where I'm like
Yeah.
and it looks weird to a lot of people when I do that, and I used to like hide it, like it's mask it and everything, but like Jackson will be like, all right, so we're gonna do this. I love that you're excited.
Yeah.
He'll say stuff like that. I love that you're excited, Haley.
But-
All right, but we've gotta wait until we get to
Right
this
here.
Actually,
certain
I'm very proud of myself. On the text message on our group chat, we said something to the effect of like, I want to do all those content ideas. I want to do all of it. We're gonna wait until next year, and also,
yeah.
like blah blah. And then I just said, I hear you. I see you, and I will end you.
He literally said that. When I was reading the text, I was like, I think Jackson's annoyed with me. Terrence, is Jackson annoyed with me? Can you look at this? And then he sent that, and then I was like,
I hear you.
Little therapy talk.
and then I was like, I don't care if he's annoyed with me.
Well, you know, I just have a dark sense of humor, so I'll just be,
yeah, and I will end you, and
yeah,
I'm like,
I say things that will like throw people off, so yeah. But no, yeah, I never,
what the hell was that?
That was me.
just be, is that your telepathy? Did
No,
you,
it
what'd
was
you do?
something slimy in my coffee.
Terrence,
Sorry.
was that you, Terrence? You put some slimy? Yeah.
I just spit in her
He already admitted it.
I feel like we
I
need,
thought you were talking about like.
we need stress balls or something.
I really do need a
We should give you a little squeezy thing
You
for
guys
this
should create a
podcasting.
neuro-fucked squeezy.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, how about
Merch.
actual balls?
Market.
Like truck nuts? Like,
Truck nuts, yeah. Neuro-fucked truck nuts.
nah, I'm good on the truck nuts. Yeah. No, but yeah, to
The only
kind of,
girl in the group squeezing the truck nuts.
we have to blur it.
Yeah, continuous mosaic.
Not suitable for children's viewing.
We could start uploading the podcast to Pornhub. So, I was a little hesitant at first. Haley was actually the one that was even more excited about it. I was excited about the podcast, but I think we have different relationships with how we look at our symptoms and look at our actual, like, autism spectrum
Yeah.
disorder. And for me, I'd known since I was 7.
Okay.
And
Yeah, it's different.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't have any more shame. I don't have shame around it, but I also have experiences around it.
Right.
And I know how people have treated me when they know, and I know how people have treated me when they don't. And at the same, I also was conscientious. I was worried that maybe people would associate me as the autism artist for my music, or like as like they'd try to pull me into like a categorization
or bubble.
Like Billie Eilish actually has Tourette's.
Yeah.
Right, but the press releases weren't like the Tourette's artist. Like that's an AGT
Yeah.
thing. That's like an America's Got Talent marketing gimmick, like type thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like the person with the thing has the thing, it's like,
So
I was hesitant at first.
Yeah.
But when I realized that like we could actually help shine a light and we could show people, educate people, but show successful people in their fields. We have plenty of people that are getting diagnosed younger now, younger and younger, that need to see like positive people in their careers, because I think they're getting told at every moment that they're different and that they're not going to really fit into the right pocket.
Yeah.
So if everything is for them, so like
Yeah.
I felt very selfish in thinking at the time that I was like,
I knew you were too, and then
Yeah.
I remember the moment where you finally decided, all right, let's do it.
yeah. But that was one of my things, was like, I don't want to make it, I want to have fun with it, and we'll bring these things up, and if it gets deep into conversation, if we get really deep, it's going to be great. But if we can make it light and we can make it like low pressure, I don't want people to feel pressured.
I think that's also where we get a little bit of dissonance, because I'm naturally very, very, I can get very deep, and it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. But he spent all his life knowing he was on the spectrum, and so like that's why we're kind of different in how we approach things.
Okay.
Well, I just don't want it to be, I don't want to be preachy. I think that's the thing. Haley's very like, I've been preachy my whole life. Like I had enough opportunities to explain autism to people. Haley's in that phase right now where she's like excited, like kind of, it's an exciting thing. It's a little more of an exciting, I wouldn't say exciting discovery. Do you
Yes,
hear
I'm
about that?
so excited.
It's more like
It's
a
new.
new side of you.
It's a new-
that
It's a side of you. Well, because it is different when you figure out when you're almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
That when all your life you were walking around with people thinking you were odd, you just didn't have anything to describe or put a name
Tools to
to
explain it, yeah.
and people just thought you were weird.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
So is
Well,
is there anyone in your life who doesn't know that you're on the spectrum that this podcast will reveal that you are to them?
Probably just some acquaintances here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the
here
most
and
part,
there.
I'm really open about it. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think that it's important for people to know. But if they don't have to. Like it's like they don't have to. So
Yeah, 'cause this isn't like a big like
Yeah.
not like a coming out kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's just like we're just talking about
There'll
it.
probably be
Yeah.
guests from time to time who feel like it is their coming out thing.
Oh.
And that's where we have to kind of
We
balance
did
the line,
have,
you know.
like a guest, one of our first guests. It was the first time she was publicly saying she was like ADHD or anything like that.
Okay.
You know, like there.
People are
so-
worried about that, and
Yeah.
so we have to
People
kind of
are.
be careful
Well,
about.
when Terrace invited me onto the podcast, I was like, wait a minute, why are you inviting me? Like, is the call coming from inside the house? Like, what,
I told
like, what are we
Terrence,
doing?
Okay, here's the thing. I told him, all right, can you reach out to people to see if anyone's interested? This is the criteria we're looking at, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And he's like, okay, I'll reach out to Al. And I was like, okay.
Because I was seriously
Are
sitting
you
there.
are you just nerdy or are you
I'm just-
neurodivergent?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never, had any tests or anything like that. My parents are from Africa, Liberia, or whatever.
Yeah.
So like those kind of things, like mental things, aren't on the top of their list as far as like problems.
But like
or
I've
whatever.
said
so their children don't.
But
Immigrant
like I've
families.
said
Yeah.
before, though, is bringing people on. I just want you leaving here learning something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not. We're not saying you have to be this or that. Yeah, our last guest was diagnosed autistic,
Mm-hmm.
and like we got to like listen to his experience. It's not like we're bringing you in and forcing this idea of
No.
what you need to be
Yeah.
on the show.
We're grabbing you, but
It's-
we're no, I'm just-
Yes, we're grabbing you. You're saying you better say that you're autistic. Bro.
the not Love is Blind. What am I talking about? Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's not what every person on the spectrum
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
That's why it's a spectrum. So I think
Which
you gotta.
we appreciate. We're not shoving that down. Like there are people who are on on that part of the spectrum who are like that, and we would love them on our show as well.
We would love them
right?
on our show. We just know that like there is like there's a certain view, right? There's a limited view. It's
Yeah.
like a scope thing. So
Yeah.
we're broadening the scope, and it's just like for mass audiences, you got like the thing of like, what do they know about spectrum disorders? Well, if that's their only source of information,
Exactly.
like that's one thing.
Very
like,
first world
if-
views on things.
Yeah, if you got
Yeah.
like if you learned about Tourette's from South Park, you're gonna have a one view of
Yeah.
what Tourette's is, right?
Yeah.
That's what I also had Tourette's, pretty extreme tics,
Mm-hmm.
physical tics growing up, and people were like, "Oh, like from South Park, so you're gonna swear all the time, right?"
Right, and it's like,
And so that's
it's not
one of those,
like
like,
that.
Right. So I think that we're gonna broaden, we're gonna help open it up,
Yeah.
open up the conversation, and like make it about all different things, and also people that just have anxiety, like they'll be able to relate, like people
Mental
that
health.
yeah.
What is that?
Stimming.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to give your interpretation first, or should I give mine?
I mean, I could start off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So stimming is just there's extra energy in your body.
Okay.
It is highly associated with being neurodivergent in some way, but neurotypical people can benefit from stimming as well. It's just getting rid of that extra energy. Like even this
Yeah.
leg tap, that's stimming. You see people doing that all the time, right?
Right.
Or there are certain versions of stimming, like humming. Like my stim is singing all the time.
Gotcha.
Like I'll sing something on repeat the
Life is a
entire day.
musical.
Yeah, and people will be like,
Right.
you sung that the entire day. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But it's more so a comforting thing, but can also for some people there are certain stims that are not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people who are on the spectrum will stim by banging their head. Like there are things that could injure you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have to find substitutes, and that's why they've come up with like these fidget toys,
Fidget
like
spinners,
these squeezies,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna piggyback off of that, but that's basically what I would say too. I just say anxiety is at the base layer of the cake, and it's an engine inside of your body, and eventually all energy needs to expand.
Yeah.
The laws of physics, and needs to escape. So you're basically compulsively just needing to do these things. It's an extension of your inner being.
Okay.
Right? So So I tend to relate a lot of these things back to anxiety for anyone that like might not know how it feels to be on the spectrum. To like imagine the base layer of this experience is an anxious one.
Yeah.
And then, like, because people, I feel like, can relate to that more. People that have had too much coffee or having a horrible day have an external forced type of anxiety.
Yeah.
Will understand stimming
Yeah.
because people have nervous tics. People have nervous things. So you can. That's one of the ones that I feel like is easier for general population to understand. You have a thing. You need to get your energy out. You need to go for a run. You need to move. You need to do something. So that's how I'd relate it. It's just like. The fact is, you could do all those things, like go for a run. You could do other, but you'd still have the stimming. The stimming is just becomes like a physical coping mechanism. And there's ones that are, I feel like, more compulsive. Like, you know, you can't really control it. And then there's ones where, like, you can kind of control it, but it's like you just need it.
Yeah.
It's that itch you need to scratch. It's that, you know, it's right there. So that's how I describe it. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me.
Yeah.
See?
Of course, yeah.
There you go. Mission accomplished.
Welcome to our TED Talk. Yeah.
Now
That's how that goes.
you're gonna walk around and be like stimming. What
Exactly.
am I doing?
You're gonna
Oh,
start.
they're stimming. They're stimming.
I'll launch at someone at work. It's like, stop stimming. Stop stimming. I know what that is now.
Yeah, but the problem too, also with trying to stop stimming, it has a negative effect if you try to force yourself to stop stimming. You have to substitute it. If it's not harming you or anyone else, then just don't force yourself to stop.
Yeah.
You gotta hot
Yeah.
potato it to a different
Yeah.
stem.
Different
You
thing.
gotta, you gotta be like, there's a.
Yeah.
Hot potato.
Just gotta hot potato it. Yeah. I actually, a lot of things from stimming could be like the extreme things you could think. Variations of it kind of lean into like OCD and into like Tourette's. Tourette's is just like stimming on crack. Like it's like I wouldn't say like, but like I had very intense physical tics. I was like a kid that looked like I was in a mosh pit everywhere I went, right? And so like that was pretty intense. But that is like in a similar way an itch you need to scratch. It's just you can't. It's one you really can't control. They're more extreme movements, and I wish there needs to be more studies on this. They've tried to do studies on this, but my mom would set up play dates with other kids that had Tourette's. Say like, oh, you could be a good influence, you know, to this little younger. He's like 2 grades younger than you, and we show up
You're
and we.
like, all right.
Yeah, I just like so I tried to. I don't like the guy, mom.
You're like, so you're
trying
forcing
to-
me to help somebody else with Tourette's?
I was mad at
Yeah.
I was mad at my mom on the drive home from that one because
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like you're like sheep. You're trying to put us together. She took the feedback, but the point is that when you're around someone else with Tourette's, you start picking up theirs. It's like a viral dance. It's like
Okay, yeah.
you basically like your anxiety goes up around them. Their goes up around you. They're doing this. You start needing to do this, right?
You're both very aware of.
You become
wow.
basically they become. It's the only like disorder that I can think of that has some sort of like physical copycat mechanism thing where it's like literally like a virus. Like it just feels like a virus. Like you're
Ooh.
around them. It's
Like
not
an
a
energy virus.
It's an energy virus. You see
Yeah.
them, you feel it, and then you just start like you need to do their thing. So yeah, people that have Tourette's know like if you're around other people too much that have it, you're gonna be very uncomfortable actually.
Holy shit.
So yeah, it's very that is the thing that's continued to be studied. There was a TikTok phenomenon where they saw people were getting like spontaneous tics from watching people with Tourette's
Holy
on
crap.
TikTok.
Wait,
Yeah, it's a whole
but
thing.
They don't have Tourette's though.
Some of them
Right,
might not,
or-
but they might be stimming. They might be
Yeah.
actually. They might be like.
Oh, stimming.
They might be picking up on those things and doing something over and over again, but it might not be because it might just be because anxiety. The point is that people like that continue to be studied, but I'm relating it to Tourette's. It's not
Yeah.
the same.
Or it could be
But-
like a yawn that catches on. You ever?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
how
that ever
yawns
happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect analogy.
Okay.
That is because.
Hey.
Jeez.
No.
Speak of the devil,
I thought of the
yeah.
word yawn, and then I was like, I'm gonna yawn. I can't stop it.
It's by association, right? Your brain picks up things, cues around us, you know,
Yeah.
there's cues around you. And like that's really what it is it's like
That's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah. But anyway, so moving on, but
Yeah.
like that's
No, that was great.
stimming is if you can channel it in the right way, you can like do it and find
I'm
ways to do
stimming
it.
right now.
Yeah.
This whole time I've been doing this with my hands.
She's been rubbing the skin off her hand.
Yes.
Just a bone.
I need to take off the nail.
Cryptids, that is a pretty fascinating subject matter, very niche, like all
Yeah.
the Bigfoot hunters out there. I feel like there is a big community of people that would like feel invested in a game like that. What's your fascination with that subject matter?
So-
where'd that come from?
I always love like the supernatural. Like that's always been like my thing. It's like supernatural Greek mythology and combat sports. We're like
Okay.
always just like my thing. I loved it so much.
Awesome.
I used to live in Minnesota from the 1st grade through the 3rd, and the kids in the neighborhood would always go into the woods where we weren't supposed to be in our neighborhood. We would go into the woods and we would go cryptid hunting. Before I even knew what a cryptid was.
You had Stranger Things childhood. man.
Literally, we had like strangers. We had our bikes. We'd go into the woods and we
really?
would hunt.
Were you the kids that wore the backpacks on the front?
Yeah, actually, yeah. No, like straight up. Yeah, we'd walk around with like our
very
kangaroo
intuitive.
pouches.
That's actually highly neurodivergent.
Yeah, it's just easier to grab
It is,
shit.
Yeah, to put the backpack on the front.
It's like if we're in the woods, right, and I need to take out a ruler to measure something, like,
Yeah.
and I got my ruler.
It's effective.
It's
Well,
effective.
well, you know what's even more neurodivergent? The kids that did the Naruto run.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we had a bunch
so
of
many
those.
kids I was
Bunch
friends
of
with
those.
did that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they just started running through the. It's like, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Naruto running.
I watched the late night Naruto on my little box TV, and I thought it was on Adult Swim, so I would always be like, I'm watching it in secret, even though my parents didn't care if I watched Naruto. But
Yeah.
it was on Adult Swim, so I'm like,
Oh yeah. So did you start doing the run too? Did you start going through the house like
Wearing the
that?
headbands.
in my room. I was
Where no one could
curious.
see you.
I didn't do it in public, no.
Yeah, these are the types of people that did it in public. So
Yeah.
yeah. No, okay. So you had you in Minnesota. You're out there on bikes.
Yeah.
Did you see anything? That,
We caught a stag one day. We didn't
stag.
catch it. Sorry, we caught
Wait,
one.
how old were you?
We
You
caught
a
one. We caught one in
What's
the
a s-
wild.
what's
A male deer.
a male deer. Okay.
Yeah.
And you sacrificed it. To
Well, it ran away before we could do anything. Yeah, we were the woods led into a pasture, and so right at the exit, because it split off and it went to our school, which was right across the pasture.
Yeah.
So there was like a male stag there. And so we were getting close to it, like kicking all like the porno that was like there in the woods and stuff. Just like people who would go there and just like
Minnesota.
watch that, yeah,
That's
or
right.
read that shit.
All right, I'm gonna go read porn in,
In
the
the
middle of
woods.
the woods.
That's old school.
Honestly, it was the 90s.
Nothing but a stag to watch me.
They had-
but
yeah.
we like that.
We like it.
Why did you guys have a porn hole that they?
It was like in a stump.
Why did they? I mean, I guess
You hide your porn in a stump. That's how it goes.
Wait, what? A
Yeah.
stump?
Yeah, like they. Okay, yeah.
Are you just learning about this for the first time, Haley?
Yes.
You don't have a porn stump that you go to every night?
People, and I can't, I can't say this for other small towns or whatever, but the
I
woods.
was from a small town, but we didn't have like woods like
Yeah,
that. I was
the
in
woods-
Florida.
I
The
think-
Everglades, they got a porn
Oh
swamp.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna go into the Everglades. Have you been
gotta-
to the Everglades?
You gotta
No,
get
it's
to the
crazy.
porn
it's
gator.
not possible.
You gotta-
Every
you
inch
gotta
there's
tap
a
the
gator.
top
Tap
of
the
the
porn
gator.
gator and it opens his mouth and then porn
We have
on his tongue.
gator crossing signs.
Yeah.
It's wild. I've never been to Florida in general, so
It's great.
Yeah,
It's a-
Really?
it's a-
oh,
it's a
yeah,
wild
we're-
time.
All of us are from Florida.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'd go with y'all. I'd figure it out. We figured it out.
figured
I'd
out.
figure
I figured out Florida. You know. I think I
was
got
the
you
one
guys
that
figured
saw a
out.
gator and went about 8 feet. Maybe we should go. I think we'll be okay. He seems pretty preoccupied by the bird over there.
I've seen a mountain lion in person. That's a very California thing. So
I have yet to see a mountain
Oh,
lion.
yeah.
I
it's
really
rare.
wanna
It's
do
very
that.
rare. It's very
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah, well,
maybe
there's
I
only
don't
one
want to do that. I don't know.
Mountain lion for like a gigantic territory, you know.
They're around.
Yeah.
They're around. They're very like they come down for the mountains more often if there's less water reservoir available. So in
Yeah.
the summer they'll come down a little further to like find a creek and
Or
stuff.
that
yeah.
mountain lion that broke into the zoo and ate that koala.
Oh really?
And then
Where?
it was a couple years back. It broke into the LA Zoo, got ate a koala, and then conducted HIV, and then died.
Yeah, that's about right.
It was
Wait, go back.
Yeah.
conducted
After consuming a koala.
No, I don't think you're understanding. How does one conduct
Like the Philharmonic, like this.
Yeah. Sorry,
this.
like conduct as in like you know how like electricity.
Contracted.
Is that the right word?
He contracted, that's what, yeah.
Sorry,
Jackson.
I was like,
We were
I was
both
like conducted.
waiting. We were both like, he'll get there. Where it's
That's
not
right.
conducting.
It's
because
not.
conducting
Well,
is building
I'm
electricity.
not trying to be the grammar Nazi of the podcast or anything, you know, like, you also said something wrong. I didn't correct you earlier on something.
What did I say wrong?
I can't exactly. I'll pull it back up on the clips. We'll pull it back. You said it 3 times, and I was like, okay.
He conducted a contraction
I think you were hearing
and acquired
me wrong.
HIV.
No, I'll remember it later. I'll remember it.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
no.
It
okay, so
doesn't exist. That's why I can't remember it.
No, yeah, the word you said didn't exist. Yeah,
But koalas.
It does exist.
it does not. The one you. Okay, so let's just.
No, you're fine.
No, I will fight you on this. We're not letting this go.
Artists from another country for Haley, that'd be actually.
That'd be
kinda
fun to just like have on retainer.
I think it'd be cool to do this podcast, keep filming it, and we'll get dubs, and we'll do international versions of this eventually.
That'd be cool.
Like what Mr. Beast does. We'll do like the we'll have a Japanese voiceover, we'll have a Korean voiceover artist. So we'll get to we could do that. If we make money with this podcast, Haley, we could do that. It's gonna be great.
The world's your oyster.
Do you think we should? Well, you already know Korean, but still, you know a little bit.
You know Korean?
What are you looking at? You're just stuck in a glare. No, these are ideas. I'm getting excited about ideas.
Okay.
Okay, focus.
So, no, I can't just speak Korean. Let's all take a breath.
So when you said a situation where it just didn't feel right, I was like, yeah, I remember having like that feeling of like walking alone somewhere, and it just turned out to be a homeless person that was just like around. Why? No, it wasn't like a bad thing or whatever. It's just like I shouldn't be afraid. It's just a person.
It was someone walking behind you.
Yeah, it was just a person. So like I didn't realize that it was a person. It was just like. That's not it's fucking homeless.
Like it's when you're walking down the sidewalk at night, Haley, and then all of a sudden you start running, and then you hear running.
I walk along the sideway alone at night. Yes.
Yeah, and then you turn around, it's just me.
Yeah, hey!
Yes, but, because I feel so comfortable doing that.
No, I know, that's
to
the
bring
point.
it back to like, so ghosts or whatever. I have a big history with ghosts. People say that the East is full of spirits and the West is full of aliens and other supernatural shit.
Okay.
I saw the ghosts on the East Coast actually, not over here.
Yeah. East
You
Coast.
want to take a moment to tell ghost stories?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
love
this
to.
is now officially a new segment. Did you ever see anything actual like?
No, there were
ghosts.
So after that day, my cousins got the bright idea to like start telling me African folklore.
Oh.
And that really fucked me up.
Is it even more messed up stories? Or?
See,
African folklore.
Yeah, there's this spirit called kakakalo, and it is a basically like a gremlin type creature with a clubbed leg, and it will chase you throughout the woods. And the sound that foot makes is its name. So it'll be like, it's like a metal foot. It's like kakakalo, and it'll drag its foot.
Yeah.
And so while sometimes I would like walk home from school alone, because my friends' parents would like pick them up or whatever, and I had like, I'd stay after school for practice or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking home, and during the wintertime up north, it gets darker quicker than it does even here.
Yeah.
And then there's snow all around. And so I'm like freaking the fuck out because it's like in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay,
did you hear the
something's
sound?
out here. Something's going to get me. And then I just became like fascinated with like folklore. And then that led into American cryptids, Japanese cryptids, African cryptids, all sorts of things. Like every culture has like it's just monsters.
Oh yeah.
My favorite one, I forget what state. It's here in America, but it's a whale that sits at the top of a mountain, and when it finds people like cowboys or whatever, like just walking with their horses or some shit, it'll let go of the top of the mountain from its fin and then slide down the mountain with its mouth open and then eats people.
Oh wow, that's wild.
And then wiggles its way back up the mountain. It's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking
Remember
heard.
the worm from SpongeBob, like the big
The Alaskan bullworm.
like the Dune
Wireworm.
style, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Wireworm.
So I loved shit like that. Like
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of Native American culture. Like, there's a lot of stuff from folklore of Native
Yeah.
Americans and the shapeshifters and like the things that use someone's voice that you know. And
Yeah,
like,
skinwalkers.
I think those ones are the
Yeah.
most scary. If I were to think of ones that I've heard that are the most scary to me, it's the ones that like feel deception and like the
Yes.
trickery, the shapeshifters.
the Fae.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that's a reason why you guys saw like It Follows.
I never saw that.
You never saw It Follows?
I did see that movie and it creeped me out
Damn,
so much.
I wanted It Follows to be a Fae or a skinwalker so badly, and I won't spoil the movie for you if you ever do just
Okay,
want to
It
see
Follows,
it.
yeah.
But it's very much not that. It's very much not that, and it might be dumber than you think.
You know, a movie
it
creeped me
is.
out when I saw it way back was The Fourth Kind.
The Fourth Kind.
That's a
Here's
good one though.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, that one's like
haven't?
a.
I've never seen The Fourth Kind.
I
No.
think it's an
Yeah.
alien, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an alien, yeah.
But it's in the like woods of Alaska, like the remote parts of Alaska in this town, and like I think it's because it's like based around an owl. There's a creepy owl staring in everyone's window.
Right.
Like that's pretty. Yeah, owls are fucking. If you ever seen them, they're pretty creepy.
A lot of people think they're witches.
Oh yeah, there's
A
a lot
lot
of
of Mexican cultures or
Yeah.
Latin cultures think they're witches.
Have you guys ever seen a skinwalker?
You wouldn't know.
no, but
Just start going.
you
The East is super old, right? It was like first settled into the East or whatever. So like a lot of stuff went down there that people just like could not explain. I think just Native American people were like fucking with them, like straight up.
Yeah.
I think that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Like Roanoke, like how the guy went back to Europe and then came back and his whole settlement was gone. I was like, yeah, but he went on a boat and left for months and then came back. They're not going to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So I used to see shadow people a lot.
Yeah.
The most famous ghost apparently in America is the man in the hat and the woman in the gown. So
Oh.
the craziest thing, right, would happen to me. I would see these guys since I was like a kid, and they are just watcher ghosts. They don't do anything. They just watch.
They
you.
lurk.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps.
Well, I
because
love telling the story because like I don't see these people anymore. Like it sucks.
So you had seen them somewhere?
I've seen the Shadow Man in the Hat.
Yeah. Well, here's the craziest fucking thing about this, right? When I was a kid and I used to see them, I asked my mom, and you know, they're very religious, so she was like, if you ever feel like a presence or whatever, just say the Lord's Prayer. And you'll be good to go. Yeah. And it's just like a mantra to keep your mind going so it's not focusing on the shadow in the corner.
Yeah.
And so I would do that every once in a while, and I'm like, okay, it's working. I still see them, but I'm not scared or whatever.
I still see them.
I still see them, but I'm not like scared or whatever.
It was standing in the room type of thing.
It would literally just be like in the corner, like just looking at me, not moving.
Yeah.
Wow,
And so
that one's wild.
And so
I've never seen
the
that one.
craziest fucking thing happened. I never told my cousins about this because I knew they liked to mess with me.
Yeah.
Right? One day I'm in my cousin's basement and she goes, guys, I had like the weirdest dream last night. A man in a hat came to visit me and opened up a book and asked me what I wanted to dream about. And she would pick what she wanted to dream about and she would dream about that thing. And the man in a hat would stand in the corner and watch her dream about the thing. She would always see the man in the hat while she's
It was like a guided
it was like
tour.
a guide or
Yeah.
whatever to her.
Interesting.
And so I was like, oh, that's fucking crazy.
With a story, he like had a storybook.
He would come up to her,
Wow.
be like, pick this, pick what you want to drink or to dream about.
Yeah.
And then you close it and just stand in the corner, and then like the scene will just change, but he would always be there watching her
Wow,
experience the
interesting.
things.
And maybe that kind of makes it less creepy though.
Well, hers was like very nice. Mine was just like, what do you want? You know, because I gotta sleep, dude. But here's
Maybe
the,
he only did that for girls. He's like, oh, let me.
here's the
No,
here's
that's
the
not what happened for me.
here's the
shit.
creepiest thing. I got like two more things, and I'll let you like
Yeah.
tell your story. Man, this really fucked me up. Insidious comes out, the first Insidious movie.
That terrified me.
The woman in the
honestly,
gown
yeah.
is the villain in Insidious.
Yeah.
Or she's like an overarching villain or whatever. And I was like, I would sit there, I was like watching it, and the beginning of Insidious is something that I swore happened to me when I was a kid. The opening of Insidious 1 is the main character daydreaming or sleepwalking. Mm-hmm. No, he's astral projecting, right?
Yeah.
Through his family's like hallway, right? And he turns and the woman in the gown is just like right there.
Oh,
and
wow.
I swore something like that happened to me when I was a kid.
Okay, that actually gave me chills because mine was that I had those. I had actual out of body. I remember them. I would have them once a year.
Yeah.
They were out of body dreams where I'd wake up in my bed. I'd walk to the hallway. It literally had a long hallway in our house. I'd turn around and I'd go to the window, the door, and I just kind of like stay there, freeze there.
Yeah.
And that's when E.T.
The actual ET, the
would come and start
extraterrestrial.
fucking like
What?
banging on the door and trying to get in. He like, yeah, E.T. from Universal's E.T.
He's a chill dude though.
Listen, I had these dreams. So I'll make this quick. I had these dreams for years, and they would always start with that type of waking up in the same house
Yeah.
I was in, and he'd know where to find. He basically know where to find me. It was like a free for all. Like he was there. He's ready to break in and kidnap me. So like once a year, I'd have a reoccurring dream. And my mom and dad got divorced. We moved to a different house, and I'd wake up in that new house. And I'd walk around and the sky would be kind of a purpley color and I'd be kind of going around and then I'd get to the door, like what happens, E.T. just kept getting taller every year that he was going through a growth spurt. He came back, he had like teardrop tattoos. He was an ex-con, you know. E.T. was just coming back hard and he would keep dragging me by the feet. He would just drag me out like to the thing, like, and basically like in the woods. And we live near the woods, so... Anyway, point is that happened for years and years.
Holy shit.
And my grandma was a events coordinator at Universal.
Yeah.
So we had like memorabilia, we had stuff around the house and stuff. And at one point, I'm telling my friend, this is happening till I'm like 13 years old. Like from like 6 to 13. And like I'm like, man, I keep having the dreams. He's like, isn't he supposed to be like the friendly alien? Like, why is he turned into such a thug? Like, why is he thugging out? Why is he turned into such a like a horrifying like? It's like, and we laughed about it, right? So we kind of had a laugh. And then I went home that night like chuckling about it. Went to sleep. Woke up in like had another lucid dream where I was in a Burbank like white picket fence like neighborhood type of thing, and I see him who's walking by business casual, briefcase and suit, but E.T.
He's got a family to feed.
He's got a family to feed. He just goes around scaring fucking little kids. So he sees me, he recognizes me. I charge him and start beating the shit out of him. I'm just like, you ruined my fucking childhood, you piece of shit. Just and he's like, he's like, and he's like, you know, like he does in the film.
Blowing fingers, yeah.
Right. And so he just went, and he's like starts deflating, like a balloon, like that, right? And then I look down, and he's like a E.T. one of those stuffed animals. What the fuck? Like that, and he's just there, and I just drop him, and then I realized that was actually in my room.
Oh, the doll?
That stuffed animal was like in my childhood room because we had all that Universal like stuff. Point is that I beat the shit out of him.
I beat the shit out of
and I
you
never
too.
had him again. And years later, I watched like then read the Stephen King like the It's, and it's like very like eerily similar to like the classic boogeyman experience.
Yeah.
Where you have to use humor, you have to find a way to make them the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
To defeat them. Very like. It just all happened exactly that way.
That relates to the last part of,
Okay,
of
yes,
my it actually does.
Sweet.
So after all of that happened, I'm enrolled in college, right? I go to Full Sail. My second year there, this guy does a presentation about American ghosts. And he's like, the most famous ghosts in America are the woman in the gown, man in the hat. I never told anyone about these things, but it's just something that people just keep experiencing and not talking about. So he goes, these ghosts that appear are semi-peaceful. They just like to watch, and they just don't interact with a lot of people. A lot of the times it might happen, but usually they just stand and watch people be peaceful. Yeah, so it was my first. So I was always into just making sketches and stuff since I was like a little kid. Actually, I would take my dad's like old church camera and like do sketches around the neighborhood. It wasn't until I got into high school that I actually like found like a group that we can like do these things with. My first YouTube channel was called Mainstream Villains. We would like shoot comedy sketches. Terrence was in one of the first ones that we did. And it was Terrence, our friend Danielle Zappi, and a couple other kids from our neighborhood and school. And I had a feeling one time when I was very, very young where it was golden hour. I still had my dad's camera. All my friends had been out with me for hours just shooting something. And it was dog shit, complete ass. Like you couldn't make sense of what we shot. But I was sitting there in the leaves in fall and I was like, I want to do this shit for the rest of my life. I love this.
That's awesome.
Right. And it was me like jumping from like other things, you know, that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a wrestler and like all this other stuff. But it was so strong in that moment that that's a moment I never forgot. So when I got into high school, I met Terrence or college, met Terrence. We started doing sketches around. And then I went to Full Sail. And I decided that I wanted to get into the YouTube space. Everyone wanted to be, you know, the next Steven Spielberg. They wanted to be, you know, doing cartwheels with Michael Bay and like all this shit. And I'm just
You'll
like,
see me at the Oscars.
yeah. And
it's always that one film student kid.
always. and I was sitting there, I was like, guys, do you understand? Like YouTube's like a big fucking deal. Like it's the money isn't there yet, but it will be. And I had examples. I was like, Smosh, unfortunately, David Dobrik. We don't have to mention him again, but he was definitely big. You know what I mean?
We have a lot of unfortunates that started YouTube.
Yeah. So like a ton of those guys. A lot of them are canceled. Smosh is not. So I moved to New York. You know, after college, way too young. I would say I was like 21 when I left. Terrence.
Yeah. Actually,
Could you do something from it?
Yeah. He left before any of us. And I think you were there for like what, 2-3 years? I think.
No, so I was there for about a year. Okay. Because when I came back, I didn't see you guys at all because you guys had gone to college when I got back. So I graduated Full Sail early because my program was 2 years. So you guys were still in community college when I was in Full Sail.
You moved up.
So when I came back, these guys had already left. Zappy had already gone to Boston. Terrence, you were somewhere else. I don't know. And so I saved up another $2,000 and then moved out to LA. And it was crazy. I would walk into production companies because that's what they told us in school to do. Don't do that shit. Don't
When you,
do that shit.
said that, I was like,
Yeah, wait. What? Where did you walk into?
Okay, you remember Rocket Jump, Freddie Wong?
Yeah.
They used to be out here in Burbank.
Yeah.
And so I found it on Google after like a day of searching. Like I was really like, I'm gonna fucking find this place and I'm gonna walk in. I didn't know that they were in the Nerdist building. So Rocket Jump was not listed, but Nerdist was. And I only knew that because I listened to the Nerdist podcast and they had Freddie on there and he's like, yeah, we just moved in. And I was like, cool, gotta go to Nerdist. I walked into Nerdist and they're rehearsing for Video Game High School Season 3. So I see Freddie like on wires and he's like on a green screen going, whoa, like this. And I'm like, this is everything. I made it. I made it to my home. I just walked in. And the door was open. This wouldn't be the last time I did that. I walked in the Cartoon Network once too. I just walked right in. Like, y'all don't have security codes? Anyways.
Steven Spielberg did that once.
Yeah.
And just ruined it for everyone.
They tell us to do that shit. So I walk in, the front desk lady goes, oh, hi. And I'm like, hey, just want to drop off my resume. And so I hand it to her and she's like, yeah, no, we we're looking for like a lot of people, gearing up for Video Game High School. Like, very much so. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to work here. This is going to be great. And I leave and I turn around to like give one last look at Rocket Jump, my new future. And she goes, it throws my paper in the trash. Like she didn't know I was still there. But I turned back and she crumpled that shit up and
And then
threw it
that's
in the
when the
trash.
security showed up. Yeah.
No, they just let me go. I was like, that's insane. So I was like, okay, well, Rocket Jump's obviously not going to work out. I walked in the Cartoon Network, did the exact same thing.
Right back in and been like, oh,
Hey,
Here's another one.
I crumpled that up. Should I do this online, or are you going to be a dick there too?
it was bizarre.
I'd like to speak with the CEO.
Yeah,
please.
get Freddie. Me and Freddie were like this. So when my first endeavor into the YouTube space didn't work out, I had to didn't exactly work out. I had to get an actual job, and that's one thing a lot of like film students don't want to do is to get an actual job. That shit irks me. Fucking pay for your roof. Pay for your roof. Like the jobs are gonna come.
Yeah.
You just have to. Don't be so prideful.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, don't be so fucking prideful. I worked at Yogurtland. I worked at the AMC over in Burbank, and I
Awesome.
didn't have a car, so I was like walking everywhere, and I was doing graveyard shifts. So I was walking from Burbank all the way to Deep NoHo in Studio City at like 2 a.m.
That's
at
like a
night.
3 hour. That's a 2.5 hour, 3 hour walk.
Yeah, and I would do that
Wow.
every day.
I know that because I did
every
it
night.
once.
You did it once?
I did it once. I did it for fun, which is different.
Yeah, no, I did it because I had to.
I did the privilege. I did the privilege version of
Yeah.
it. I did it like I'm going to get my 20,000 steps.
Buddy, I got more steps than I knew what to do with. I was actually pretty slim back then. I was looking real good back then.
Yeah, he actually came down to visit one time and he dropped like I don't know how much.
It was like almost like 100 pounds.
Yeah,
it was like
a complete culture shock.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you look so good, and you're like,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually what
I was
they
like,
say.
I'm poor.
Like, what's your secret?
Poverty.
Wow.
poverty, depression.
stress.
Yeah.
So
You know?
you were
Oh,
working
man.
AMC in Yogurtland, and in the meantime, you're doing that, and
Yeah.
like you're prepping your next
So,
plan of action.
in the meantime, while I was working at these places, I was doing my own stuff on the side. I brought back mainstream villains for a little bit. Zappy had moved out after that time, but she was out here, so we were doing stuff again. And I had met my first writing partner ever, Kimberly Tron.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I introduced you guys.
Yeah.
Kimberly is, I owe a lot to that woman. She wrote for CBS. She is a improv sketch comedy writer as well. Amazing connections, amazing person just in general, amazing creative person. She read one of my scripts because I was going to the UCB at the time as well and just like taking classes. She read one of my scripts, came to Yogurtland where I was working, and was like, hey, we should shoot this, because I had also gone around Burbank and just like taped up like signs. It was like, do you want to be in this sketch? Here's my number.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my email address, and here's a Google QR code, and the script is there.
Wow.
And so read the script if you want to be a part of this. Here's my number, and you rip the thing off, and you get my number.
But you hadn't met her before this? Or you
I had not met her before
So
this.
she showed up from the ad.
From the ad.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, and I
She
put it
was
on
on a
Facebook.
mission.
I had put it on Facebook too, but she said that she saw it around or whatever and on Facebook. But she came there. We read the script. She was like, "This is funny as fuck. Let's go do it." And so that was literally the start of it. I was like, "Oh, I can just do this shit myself. Like, if no one's gonna hire me."
Yeah.
Because it's that catch-22 of just like working in media in general. It's like you need to have 10 years experience. Well, it's like, if you don't give me the experience, how am I supposed to get it?
Yeah.
The answer is you got to do it yourself, unfortunately. And I never liked that, but that is how life goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could even have the 10 years of experience, and they'd be like, well, this is a very production heavy resume, actually. Or this resume is a little too heavy on this,
Yeah.
And you'll be like, well, like, I have like 15 years of
Yeah.
For me, my first script I ever wrote, CVS was interested in, and they were like, "We'll give you a micro budget of $25,000, and we have all creative control." And I was like,
Fuck out of here.
"No."
Yeah.
That's when you need an agent to negotiate.
Because I was really young too, and they were taking advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was doing that, I was just,
I didn't know that.
raising just like my confidence in my writing ability
Yeah.
and my editing ability And then I got a job at this place called VIP Productions, which was just a wedding videography place. And I was like, finally, I'm getting paid to do media now. Did that for about, I want to say 2 years. And then I got an internship at this place called Jump Cut Studios. Jump Cut Studios is one of those dudes who had like the pickup artist YouTube video channels. And I was just like, damn. But they wanted to make a YouTube how-to course. So I was like, okay, well, I will be getting paid until that course, 20 course thing is done.
Now, did you learn how to pick up chicks?
No, they kept that to the chest, apparently. A bunch of stuff, not so good stuff happened around that time. Yeah. I was dating a person that I thought I was going to marry. That didn't work out at all. My cousin had passed away during that time as well. That was very tough. And I just was feeling like, damn, I made another mistake. LA probably isn't it. LA just isn't for me. I'm depressed again. I lost someone that I loved relationship-wise and familiar-wise. And I was like ready to just like give up again. Then I got a job at Avalon because the internship had ended. And I was like, okay, I'm already living at Avalon. I might as well make this place that we're all staying at cheaper. I had moved in with Zappy, so we're all living together now. And our Zappy's friend from college, Nancy, got a job at Smosh. So Smosh had been let go from their overall company called Defy. That was really ruining things for them. So the company got nixed. Good Mythical Morning picked them up.
And they took care of the Smosh brand.
Yeah, took care of them. So they had like a resurgence. And so Nancy was like, hey, do you want to come in as a PA for a couple of days? And I was like, yes. I quit Avalon without actually having a job. In between that time, I ran off to Japan and then came back. And so it was just like a lot of things going on. I had gotten my dog roll. It was like, I was just doing shit because I was like, I'm in panic mode. I need to feel good or else I'm going to leave LA and feel like a failure again. So I got onto the Smosh sets and I was just like, out of the way, not really talking to anyone. And eventually one of the HR people or whatever, or head of production was, her name was Maida. And she came to me and was like, hey, we saw that your YouTube channel, you know how to edit. You can write a little bit. Do you want to just come in as like an editor for like a little bit? And then we'll see how that is. And I literally was just like, yeah, holy shit. I was just about to give up. Yes, I would like to come in.
Wow.
And then I had my interview with Ian after I had come back from Japan, because that was all in the same time. And he was like, what's your history with Smosh? And I was like, oh, I used to watch you when I was in middle school for like a little bit. And he goes, damn, I'm fucking old. he goes, shit, yeah. And I doubt he even remembers it because it was so weird because they didn't choose me at first. There were two people that were up for the editing job, and they chose someone else, but that person wound up being a nightmare. So you get me, the best pick second.
That's good. I mean, honestly, because at the end of the day, you want you want a super skilled editor that's an asshole, or do you want someone that's like good, actually like has a good vibe? It's good.
Well, I became an asshole.
Okay, well,
a little bit later,
you became tenure.
I'm a vocal dude, but luckily, I like the product that we create over at Smosh. Now with creative people, there's always no matter where you are, and you guys will feel this too. Eventually, it'll happen.
I've been there.
Yeah. When you get a whole gaggle of creative people, things just happen. Like wires get crossed, sparks get flared.
I've been on plenty of sets, and I've always seen fires happen and slowly backed into the corner, being like, nope.
But the reason why I give Smosh props is because no matter how I feel at the end of the day, we are making videos that make people happy. And that has always just been the goal for me, is to live off of my weird, comedic nature and creativity. Right?
Yeah,
and Smosh is a place
levity. They add a lot of levity to people's lives. People that,
Smosh was a place that I was able to really just do that professionally. Now, companies change as far as just like what they want to put out into the world. So as a creative person, it can get kind of like frustrated to be like, man, that joke's great. Don't cut that. Yeah. Or, man, but at a certain point, it's just like, no, dude, it's a job. So it kind of came full circle again in a way where it's like, okay, I got to the goal that I was like hoping to get to. I work in YouTube now, right? Yeah. I get paid. I'm able to rent an apartment here in LA. I've been living on my own for 10 years now in LA.
Are you roommateless or with the roommates?
So by on my own, I mean without parental help.
Oh, okay.
But I have no roommates now. So that
was my thing 2 years ago, was I moving into this place. I was like I was my roommate free era now. Yeah.
I've been roommate free for 4 years.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, no matter how much the company itself changes now, right? How much the Smosh that I grew up with and fell in love with changes, I've already hit that goal. That goal's done now. Now it's like I'm at Smosh. I'm with creative people. Now, what am I going to do that's next for me? Because a lot of people go to like these big companies and stuff like that, and they think that they're going to be integrated into the culture in a way where it's like, oh, I'm going to be next cast eventually, or I'm going to be part of like...
I'm going to be a bigger part of the future of
this part of the future of this company than they are realistically. And I try and like, specify to people, it's like when you get to these companies, when you finally reach your goal of working in these companies, don't go into these companies with the idea that you are going to be a part of the Illuminati or something like that. They're in crowd.
Corporate structure,
the structure of the place. Yeah. And not saying like the people who like cast or producers and stuff like that are bad people. No, like everyone's great at Smosh. I'm talking about the people who come in and it's like, oh, now I feel bad about working here because I'm not getting what I need out of this job that I thought I was going to get. I wrestled with that a lot. Like when I first got that position, it was like, I want to do more. It's like sometimes
see it as an end goal. Some people see the job as the end thing.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that they've lost their soul. They've lost themselves in the process. But I'd also say, like, I just add this, when I was producing songs for other people, when I was doing a bunch of songs, I'd get frustrated after the session. Not because, well, sometimes some people are frustrating to work with. Artists can be, as you know, a little finicky. But I would say I'm not frustrated with them. I'm producing this epic track for them, and I haven't finished my own work. I haven't, like, I have 10 songs on my cutting room, like on the table right now that I need to finish for myself, and I don't feel full. I need to fill up my cup before I can keep like giving this my big service out. Or at the same time, you need to be doing the thing that fills your cup. Yeah. So like, I'm doing my record right now. That was one of the things where I kicked myself in the ass to do it, to finish the work. It's, laborious, but like, because I got a kick in the ass because I got a soundtrack placement at a thing placed in a film, and then it kind of got pulled away, and then it was a lot of back and forth depending on like what they were going to use. I do have a placement in it still, which is great, but that uncertainty was just like very frustrating, and it just reminds you, I need to fill up that thing that I was doing. I need to finish my thing. Yeah. So is that like, do you feel like that kicking up with your games and stuff?
Yeah. So now that I've reached the goal, every day I go, and it's like it's like not a process. I'm not on autopilot at all, but it is my routine, right? I wake up, I go in, I do my thing. People on the outside who watch Smosh for fun, they get their kicks. That's, due to me as well. I help out with that.
Yeah.
The fans love the videos, and I'm happy about that. But that does not fill up, like you were saying, my personal cup because, well, for one, the company isn't mine. I don't own these videos, technically. I could put these things on my resume, which is great, but the sense of like ownership is a finicky thing when you work for people who own the thing that you were striving to get to. Yeah. So now I'm, like I said, it came full circle. So now that I've had this thing, now I'm like, okay, branch out again. Like, what is next for you? And it was just like games, clothing, stuff that I really had no business getting into is stuff that I wanted to do because that's the only way I will find out my next thing. Get into a business that you have no business being in and you'll probably feel happy again. like straight up.
I think there's like that really, it shows that you have a lot of curiosity. Yeah. And that you're not afraid to throw the darts at the wall. And I think that's kind of something that comes from the spirit of YouTube as well. Yeah. Is like, here we are shooting these sketches. We're going to just throw a bunch of darts at the wall and see what sticks. That philosophy in business can be also helpful as an entrepreneur, can be helpful because you're actually throwing things. You're like, that level of experimentation is necessary to produce anything. Yes. You do need to experiment to know if it's going to be a yes or no for something. You don't know until you try, right? Yeah. So I think that's actually a very like healthy philosophy to have. It doesn't mean you should do that with every project. Yeah. But it's like you oh yeah, what's that?
It's 3:30.
3:30? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Well, hey, no, yeah, that's cool.
Good conversation goes on.
I was like, why am I hitting such a hard
This is now the Joe.
Right now?
This is the Joe Rogan.
I haven't been talking.
Let's go for the 4 hours.
Let's talk about conspiracy. No, the moment we got into cryptids, that took it into a 3-hour podcast. No, so okay, so to finish up on that, that idea of we were talking about experimentation. Yeah, we're talking about what was I saying?
It was the act of just like experimenting.
Yeah. You talking about like you having these projects that fill your cup. I also think the way you described your relationship, what you kind of discovered at Smosh, is a healthy relationship to have with work in general. Yes. Right? Some people dedicate their lives to a company. Some people dedicate their lives and their like time and everything to a company, and like I'm sure that's not what the people at these creative type artsy places really want you to do either. Like at the end of the day, they don't want you to kill yourself to make the thing.
You will step on a lot of toes doing that, having that kind of mentality, and you will only burn yourself out.
Exactly.
Doing that kind of stuff.
So having a healthy, like the advice that you kind of gave it is, your example is kind of advice for people in a way too. Yeah. Like it's like you got to build out your thing. You got to build out your projects. What would you say to someone who needs that fuel, that needs that flame under them to try something? Yeah.
I think actually you hit it on the head. It's like you need to stay curious. You need to wake up and find something that you never thought that you would be interested in, and then just get into it. Like if you there was like a whole craze of like people learning how to knit during COVID. And I was like, yeah, I never thought that. I didn't get into it, but I was like, that's cool, because it's like something that you didn't think that you would be interested in. You just try it out. Like, and don't follow like trends. Something that's trendy, don't do it. You'll have like a lot of people doing it, mind you. You'll get like a lot of help if you know the right people doing it. But I think being curious is more of a like a self-discovery thing than anything. You won't, if you're curious and you get into something, don't expect that thing to be super successful, but you are finding something that's new to yourself that you can now explore. You're like opening up a whole new avenue for yourself, for where you're like, oh, this is a side of me I didn't know that I knew about.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
guys for
here.
having me.
Thank
We had a
you.
great time. Haley, we're gonna get some noodles. I think we're all gonna get some noodles. We're gonna get shawarma. No,
Shawarma.
that's the Avengers. Terrence, thanks for running us out over there. Shout out to Terrence.
Thanks, Terrence.
Terrence is the OG. And yeah, good job, everyone.
Awesome.
We did it.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for watching the video. What do you like? Would you subscribe? Could you do all the nice things? Write a comment what you like, what you didn't like. We're here for you. We're gonna be here for you with all your wants, needs, and desires and your deepest fantasies. But maybe not that. But like, you know, Haley, what do you think?
I think we should start over.